Fijian Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama has made some pretty firm comments directed towards Australia, encouraging it to move towards more renewables. What did you make of those comments?
We've already spent something like $50 billion over the last decade to build renewables in this country. And we have to still, again, going back, you have to have a strong economy to help Fiji. This year it's something like $58 billion of foreign aid that we'll directly give the Fijian government to help various parts of their society and their country. You can't do that again without a strong economy. Now, we've spent $50 billion on renewables. The chief scientist has said this will have no effect whatsoever on the climate. So I'm really not sure what the Fijian Prime Minister is actually going on about.
Well, I think he's going on about the fact that Australia at the moment isn't on track to meet its own targets for climate and emissions reductions. So isn't it prudent for Australia to pick it up a gear if we're going to meet those commitments that we've made?
I think, as everyone knows, our Kyoto targets, we actually beat those. We're ahead of those Kyoto targets. And if we look at around the world, we've got countries like China actually increasing their emissions each year greater than Australia's total emissions. But we have to be honest about this. There's nothing that we do in Australia that is going to affect cyclones or sea levels in Fiji. The best way that we can help the Fijian people is to ensure that we have a strong economy, we can give them the generous foreign aid that can help them mitigate any bad weather that they have.
What Craig has just said condemns our Pacific sister and brothers to a horrible, horrible life. Unchecked climate change is an existential threat to the entire Pacific island nations, all of those. The government's 2030 target, firstly, is inadequate at 28% cut on 2005 levels. Secondly, the government's own figures, which they released just before Christmas, says they're not even going to meet it. The government's own figures say that they will only cut emissions by 7% versus 28%, and carbon pollution under this government has increased every year since 2014. They've gone up 5%. What Craig and the Liberal Party is about is denying climate change. They're not taking any action on climate change, condemning our region to a huge negative impact. And we need to play our part. We're the 12th largest emitter of carbon pollution in the world. The rest of the world is looking for us to be part of the solution.
I mean,
Pat, Joe, if I could just jump in there, Pat, can you tell me, with Labor's policy, what will the difference in the sea level be in Suva?
Well, what I can say is,
to the nearest millimetre, how much will your policy reduce
your
the level of
response is
sea
an
level?
Excuse for doing nothing. The Paris Accord, if implemented, will restrain greenhouse gas warming, and we need to play our part. What you've just said is,
about the government's policy.
Your excuse is the excuse for every nation not to do their part. We all need to play our part.
And Australia is doing that.
It's not.
Australia's a signature.
Your government's own figures say you will not hit your own inadequate targets. You will miss it by a mile.
And how much will that affect the sea levels?
It will play a part in not reaching.
In millimetres.
This is just such an excuse for doing nothing.
I don't think anyone's going to know what it's going to do to the millimetre, but I think most people agree that there will be some impact. We do need to move on.